What's up guys, it's Ed from TechSource and this is Phoenix, the gaming PC for the month of September. Now normally I would do PC builds that give you the most bang for your buck, but this time I wanted to change things up a bit and build you guys a very good looking PC that's upgradable in the future. I also want to give a huge thanks to Gigabyte, Fantex, and Crucial for setting these parts in and making this build possible. And I'll also drop a link to all the parts mentioned in this video, linked below for you guys. Now if this price point is a bit too much for you guys and you don't plan on upgrading in the future, then I've put together another list using most of these parts that will cost you around $800 instead, and you can find the links to the parts for that down below as well. So starting off, we have the i5-6500, a very solid quad-core processor that will handle any game you throw at it. Now because this PC is upgradable in the future, I did go with the Fantex TC12DX CPU cooler and also the Gigabyte Z170N Gaming 5 motherboard. This will ensure that you will get the highest overclock on your CPU if you decide to go with an unlocked processor. The Z170N Gaming 5 motherboard has a very appealing black and red color scheme with some white accents, and it features 2 DIMM slots with support of up to 32GB of DDR4 memory, and it also has 2 SATA Express and 1 M.2 connector. I do like the fact that it comes with a dual band wireless connection plus Bluetooth 4.2 and a reinforced PCI slot, which is said to be 3.2 times stronger compared to traditional slots. Overall, a very solid Z170 board and one of the best that you can buy for any ITX build. So I went with the white and red Fantex cooler to keep the color scheme of the build consistent, and also because it does a great job keeping the CPU at very low temps while producing virtually no fan noise. In fact, here's a quick sample during full load. Crucial sent me their Ballistics Sport LT RAM, which not only looks amazing, but it's also one of the fastest rated RAM sticks with timing speed of 16. They are also priced fairly low compared to other similar rated DDR4 RAM. I did go with 2 sticks of 8GB each right off the bat instead of upgrading later on. For storage, I went with the Corsair 480GB SSD and 1TB hard drive space from Seagate, but there is room for an M.2 SSD later in the future. For the graphics card, I opted for the Gigabyte GTX 1060 G1 Gaming that comes out of the box with a boost clock of 1847 MHz in overclock mode, which can be enabled within the Extreme Engine utility. Also within the software, you can manually overclock the GPU, set fan curves, and even change the color of the words on the side of the GPU. It's not a bad looking graphics card. It's got a neutral black look with some orange accents near the front, which you won't be able to see anyway since the card is facing downwards in the case. It has a decent looking backplate too, although I do wish the Gigabyte logo would also light up. For ports, you get the standard HDMI 2.0B and 3 DisplayPort 1.4, and it only requires a single 8-pin PCI connector. Speaking of power, Gigabyte sent me their new 1200 watt 80 plus platinum fully modular power supply. I know, it's overkill. Even with future upgrades like a Titan X, the most you'll ever need is an 800 watt power supply. But Gigabyte sent this over for the build, so why not include it? The power supply has a pretty cool design with an orange 140mm fan, and it's also fully modular, which is great since you can only plug in the cables that you need. I'm also very surprised that they were able to keep the form factor very small. Most other 1200 watt power supplies are very long, making it difficult to install in some ITX or micro ATX cases. The power supply also comes with flat black cables, which is nice to see instead of the usual ketchup and mustard cables, but I decided to go with the Fantex custom extensions instead for a much cleaner look. And finally, housing all these parts is the Fantex Enthoo Evolve ITX case, which is now my personal favorite mini ITX case. It comes in either red and black, all white, or an all black color scheme, and it features 2 USB 3.0 ports in the front and a clear side panel. The chassis is made out of steel with some plastic parts throughout the case, and it has a ton of space for cable management and even water cooling. It comes with this massive 200mm fan in the front with room for an additional 140mm fan in the rear, as well as radiator support on the top. It doesn't even stop there. Near the back you get 2 hard drive bays that don't require any tools, as well as a slide and lock tray for the SSD. Despite its small size, the Evolve ITX can support full-size graphics cards as well, and that's because of the brilliant design. The modular tray over here simply goes over the GPU, allowing you to install an extra hard drive, an SSD, or even a reservoir right on top, but you will need to buy an extra tray, which is sold separately. I was definitely happy to see lots of space in the back for cable management. The grommets are nice and so are the Velcro straps, but honestly I would have loved to see more cutouts near the back, as routing the cables alongside the corners proved to be difficult since I couldn't really tie the cables to anything. The cable management would have looked a lot cleaner if I didn't use extensions. If I just stuck with the stock PSU cables, it would have looked so much better. Adding extensions simply doubles the amount of cables you have to work with, and everything just looks more cluttered. Even with the extra set of cables, I was surprised that I managed to fit everything behind the PC without forcing the side panel back on. If you guys are planning on a mini ITX build, I would highly recommend you to check this case out. I really love it, and they actually have bigger versions of this case, but I'll drop a link to them down below if you want to see for yourself. So before we get into the benchmarks, I want to give a huge thanks to VideoBlocks for sponsoring this video. VideoBlocks has the largest unlimited download library of stock video, After Effects, and motion backgrounds on the web with over $10 million in content. With a VideoBlocks membership, you guys get access to over 2 million clips for 40% off per clip, compared to competitive sites, and over 100,000 free clips are included with your membership as well. This is because VideoBlocks takes 0% commission on its sales, passing all the savings on to its members. Also, in the month of September, VideoBlocks is releasing their new Authentic collection, including over 2,000 new videos. Let's face it, stock videos can look very fake and artificial at times, so VideoBlocks is actually challenging this with their new collection, which features real people and real videos. During your 7-day free trial, you can download 140 pieces of content for free, and you also get access to their new Authentic collection. So guys, make sure to visit videoblocks.com/YouTube to sign up for their 7-day free trial, and I'll drop a link to them down below as well. Alright, so moving on to the Firestrike benchmark. Fenix got a score of 10,173, putting it right below the 2 RX 480 build from August, and pretty much doubling the rest of the builds on the channel. Keep in mind that this score would be the same even if you go with the $800 configuration I talked about earlier in this video, and that's because the CPU and graphics card are the same. For render times, Fenix is the second fastest PC compared to my other builds, barely getting beat by the FX 8370 8-core processor from Red Twin. Alright, so that's enough of that nonsense. How does the PC perform while gaming in 2K resolution? That's 2560 by 1440p, by the way. You guys can find the current real-time FPS in the top left corner of the screen, but without wasting any more time, let's take a look at the benchmarks. So there you guys have it, some very impressive numbers from the Gigabyte GTX 1060 G1 gaming graphics card. For around $800, you guys can play majority of the games in 2K resolution in high settings above 60 FPS. That's pretty impressive. If you guys have a bit more to spend, I would go with the future expandability route, which is basically the same PC featured in this video, which will give you lots more room for upgrades. But if you only have $800 to drop on a PC, then the alternate build that I linked below will get you the same performance that you saw in this video, but remember that you won't have any room for upgrades in the future. But that is it for the video. As always, if you guys enjoy my monthly PC builds, please leave a like as it does help the channel a lot, and I will see you guys in the next video.